spreading hope and celebrating progress in the fight against domestic violence.
Those were just some of the goals of a gathering this weekend in Eastport.
4 different agencies came together to host recognition days for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. Next Step Domestic Violence Project, AMHC, Sexual Assault Services, Indian Township Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Services, along with Peaceful Relations Collaborative throughout the year.
Advocates say a coordinated community response is the best approach to providing services in rural areas like Washington County. 10 people who went above and beyond while providing those services were honored at Saturday's event.
All those organizations collaborate throughout the year, is what I should have said. The honorees range from law enforcement, forensic nurses, a school social worker, and more.
It was really about recognizing all of those people who help us to engage, support, and to let survivors know that they're not alone. In Washington County, we have to have a coordinated community response, and we were recognizing those people who are part of that safety plan.
There is hope. These magnificent women are answering the telephone, okay, and answering the hotline. They are going to pick up the victims. There are shelters that appreciates their children and their pets. So this was, as I said, the most beautiful thing I have attended for decades.
Organizers say they hope to make recognition days an annual event.
If you'd like to learn more about the resources these 4 agencies provide, links to more information as well as their phone numbers are up on our